furiously working to stay ahead of the number 9 Peugeot, the race-leading Audi comes upon Pagenaud's slower teammate.
Andre Lotterer has his windscreen full of the back of Peugeot number 7. And Marc Genet pulls in and it hits him! Marc Genet's just hit the leader!
He just turned in and we went, boom, we hit big. And I was like, no. But you gotta fight with it. This is the situation you're in, and I'm the only one who can deal with it.
He's forced him off the road! He's forced him off the road! That is quite remarkable! What is he thinking of? This is absolutely disgraceful! This is disgraceful! What are Peugeot thinking of? This is disgraceful!
When a car is many laps down and not even battling to stay on the lead lap, I think they went across the line. Literally as well as metaphorically.
I took contact with the Peugeot people and asked them, please, let the cars that go for victory, one car from yours and the one from ours, give the chance to fight it out between themselves. And then they sent me back an SMS, don't worry, the other cars will not interfere. And then I could tell Andre, attack and go for it.
And the Audi has got through, but that was dangerous in the extreme. That was nonsense.
If I were in the Audi pit at the moment, I would feel like I was walking on a tightrope, because you only have to look down that list and, you know, there's a minute and then there's 9, 8, 7 Peugeots just queued up.
The number 2 Audi has done heroic work. But how long can its drivers bear the weight of leading the 24 hours of Le Mans?
People think, wow, all the pressure on these guys. But for us in the car, in the seat, and within our little group of people, we were focused on racing, performing, and it didn't matter if they were there or not. And pressure is there anyways in racing, and you learn to deal with that.
If you feel pressure, and pressure is heavy, you start to do mistakes. And I never felt pressure. It felt for me like more like motivation to do it.
At that point in time, it started to become a little bit more realistic, and the chance of a win was creeping up. But what was really creeping through my mind was how small our gap was, and at one stage it was getting smaller, and it was quite a worry.
She was shitting her pants about 2.5 hours before the end of the race. I know Lena very well, and I could tell that she was feeling the strains of leading Le Mans race.
All race, Peugeot's strategy has been simple. More laps per fuel tank means less pit stops. And saving several minutes in pit lane would eventually equal victory. With just over an hour left in the race, that tactic is about to be tested.
Andre, box this lap, box this lap.
Holding a 1-minute lead, Audi is about to do its penultimate pit stop. The number 9 Peugeot, having just pitted about 15 minutes ago, should only have to come in once more for enough fuel to finish the race. This is the moment when both teams' race strategies will come to a head. If Audi can get in and out of the box before Peugeot passes them, their strategy will have proven best, and they'll be one step closer to winning. Lotterer emerges from pit lane with his lead intact.
I'm amazed that the Audis can make extra pit stops and hold a 16-second advantage.
Over the course of the race, Audi has pitted 3 more times than Peugeot. Yet a 10th victory at Le Mans is now within reach. Just don't tell Dr. Ulrich that.
I have learned in Le Mans that the race is never over before really the finish is there. I always pushed myself, not thinking about it's done, because it's done if the checkered flag is down.
Lena, it's tire.
Tire alarm. It's tire alarm.
Copy that. I'll let him know.
3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0.
Almost immediately we noticed the tyre pressures and we kept an eye on it, but we were developing a slow puncture. We were monitoring it. We hadn't said anything to him, but he actually came over the radio and said, "Is everything okay?"
My left rear was dropping. I went on the radio. I have a slow puncture on the left.
And I confirmed to him, "We've got a slow puncture, but we've got to stay out. If we don't and we have to do an extra pit stop, we will have lost this." So,
Andre, when you get on the straight, we want to analyse the data to see if we need to make a change.
The data confirms Lena's fears. The race leader must box to address the puncture. But with little more than 45 minutes to go, Audi cannot bring Lotterer in right away. Pit now and risk running out of fuel before the end of the race. A potentially disastrous repeat of what happened at Spa earlier in the year.
Paul, this is getting interesting because all of a sudden Simon Pagenaud is only seconds behind Lotterer, and this is not as cut and dried as we may have once thought.
Lotterer guides the number 2 Audi through nearly 5 laps on a slowly deflating tyre. And it's finally time to pit. With no margin for error, Lena is faced with one last race-deciding choice.
on the pit wall, I had Howden next to me, and the conversation that we had was whether we changed one tyre or all 4.
It's not an easy call. Victory hangs in the balance. In the end, Mr. Le Mans himself is asked to weigh in.
And I was called down to hear what I would like to have done in this situation. And yeah, for me, I said all 4 for sure. You need your weapons sharp.
This was a very important moment. And then at the end, we decided it's the better way to change all 4 tires.
That's when the call was made. We change all 4, give Andre the best chance.
Andre, box this lap.
Copy.
It's all teamwork, and in the end, the right decision was taken.
Lotterer by 24 seconds, and 1 splash for the Audi driver. Well, and Pagenaud to come in as well.
38 minutes remain. The number 2 Audi and the number 9 Peugeot will both pit. The Audi will get new rubber on all 4 wheels. The Peugeot will take on only fuel. It's a calculated risk. Old rubber will compromise the Peugeot's handling, but the faster stop may allow them to take over the race lead.
Here comes the leader of the race for its final stop.
Should be a short fill so they can get to the end. It is the final scheduled stop for this car. They are doing a tyre stop. They're cutting down an extra risk. They're changing tyres, so they're going to have a fresh set of boots.
They haven't got time to do that because Pagenaud's come in at the same time. And Pagenaud is about to roll out.
And so he's fired up, he's rolling, it's going to be a battle on the grid, and he's got away ahead. The distance is about 6-7 seconds. That was a very, very clever risk, that one.
So 35 minutes left to go, Johnny, and they left the pits 7.8 seconds between them. There's a steely determination in the eyes of Dr. Wolfgang Ulrich.
With his weapons now razor sharp, Lotterer attacks the circuit. Setting a blistering pace, Pagenaud struggles to match. Strategy means nothing now. The balance of this race will be decided by pure speed.
Andre Lotterer, 347 laps completed, 12.3 seconds ahead of the rest of the field, led by Simon Pagenaud. This is honest to goodness drama, excitement all the way to the end, with Andre Lotterer still only leading by 13 seconds.
I know, and anything can happen.
I'm really nervous.
It's horrible. I don't want to be here, to be honest.
With under 10 minutes remaining in the race, one mistake, no matter how minute, could end any chance for victory. The pressure is stifling. Lotterer handles it by calmly extending his lead.
The gap has gone out to 17.7 seconds.
It hasn't gone up through one big jump. It's just been tickle, tickle, tickle. Every lap, a little bit quicker, a little bit quicker.
Who's writing the script for this? Will you tell them to turn the drama level down to maybe 11 or 12 out of 10?
Andre, stay cool. It's 1 more lap. one more lap.
And we still hold our breath on the final lap, which will be a full speed final lap. There's about 7.5 miles still to run.
The 2011 24 Hours of Le Mans has come down to the final 3.5 minutes. One flawless lap is all that separates Audi from victory. In years past, the Audi crew would line up along the pit wall, celebrating the win. But not this year. This race is far too close for ceremony, and the entire team stays in the garage. "24 hours are in the books. Red Sonja rules the Circuit de la Sarthe."
There's 4 Peugeots behind, but there's 4 rings on the top of the podium at Le Mans 2011.
The number 2 Audi takes the checkered flag by just over 13 seconds. It's Audi's 10th win in a dozen years.
You go through the line and then boom, suddenly all your emotions come. You're like, wow, we made it, fantastic. When you watch the images after, you just have to cry a little bit because it's just so much, so intense.
For me, it was a mental roller coaster with the perfect finish.
This was the nicest moment in my career, almost in my life, I would say.
Yeah, this is getting goosebumps now. It's an amazing feeling to win Le Mans. You know, you enter in the history of the best drivers.
I was really, really happy, and then I cried. So I was, yeah, like a baby.
It's a whole year's worth of work that culminates in 24 hours of racing. It was a really big moment, I think.
Big is an understatement. The 2011 Le Mans is historic. Lena Gade is the first woman ever to win the race as lead engineer.
When she found herself alone with her car and the drivers fighting the 3 Peugeots, I think the pressure on her was immense, but still at the end, it was her that had to manage it. Her.
H had said over the radio that he was really proud of me and I'd done a really good job. Everything I've learned from him, but also knowing that I guess I hadn't let him down because he'd taken a real gamble pushing me forward to be a race engineer. So it was a little bit emotional.
It's just incredible, you know. It's difficult to realize, but it was a very hard race with a very strong competitor, and it makes the race even better and the win even better.
In only their second year together as an Audi team, Ben Trellier, André Lotterer, and Marcel Fassler have made their mark. They are now and forever champions. 13.854 seconds. Not a lot of time, but time enough to stand atop the racing world, to savor a hard-fought victory, and to never forget that at Le Mans, every second counts.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
You don't win Le Mans, you outlast it. For the past decade, no team has endured its challenge more than Audi.
The number 2 car looking awfully strong.
Side by side in the inside run. Oh, Christensen. He's got to come in this lap. Go, go. That could be the deciding moment in this motor race.
Perfect. Now we are talking.
Capello, Christensen, McNish, victorious at Le Mans. You did it.
The French village of Le Mans first hosted its 24-hour endurance race in 1923. It was an audacious idea in an unlikely place. The race would be a 24-hour trial designed to push man and machine to their limit, sometimes beyond it. Le Mans is where careers are made and legends are born. Win here and become an icon. In 2011, Le Mans will test Audi like never before. Courage, not kilometers, will be a measure of their effort. A new chapter in the race's history is written. New heroes emerge, and every second counts.
This is a demonstration of Wirecast.
Every great race requires a great rivalry. For Audi, that adversary is the French automaker, Peugeot.
To race with a Peugeot it's really great because they are really fighters.
You need strong competitors in the race, and if you can win against strong competitors, I think the value of our victory is much, much higher.
But its roots were first laid almost 20 years ago. After back-to-back wins in 1992 and 93, Peugeot did not race a factory team at Le Mans for over a decade. At the turn of the century, Audi burst onto the scene and won 6 out of 7 races, staking their claim to the French circuit. Finally, in 2007, Peugeot defended its home track, and a rivalry was born. Audi entered 2009 confident they would win a 6th straight title. But after years of dominance, Audi was reminded that Le Mans plays no favorites. Peugeot took advantage of Audi's struggles and claimed the top 2 spots on the podium.
Spoke to Ralph Jutner about when do you start thinking about next year. He said tomorrow. It takes 12 months of planning to win this race.
Humbled and with a renewed vigor, the German Mark entered the 2010 race as the underdog. It was the first time in 7 years an Audi car would not bear the number 1 on its flank. But any thoughts of Audi's demise were premature. By race's end, one of Le Mans' great champions was back on top. The number 9 car, driven by Mike Rockenfeller, Timo Bernhard, and Romain Dumas, finished with a course record 397 laps, and Audi swept the podium. With the victory, they added another chapter to their storied legacy.
Yes, there are manufacturers that achieved more victories in Le Mans, but none did it in such a compressed period of time. The intensity of wins from Audi in these years is on a level that nobody else ever achieved. And we always tried to continue to improve, and we always found a way to improve.
In 2011, improvement came in the form of a new car, the Audi R18 TDI. Regulation changes by the ACO made downsizing their engine necessary.
We had to cut down from a 5.5 litre V10 to a 3.7 V6. Uli Beretsky, our engine guru, he came up with the best overall concept, not just for the engine, but for the whole car.
We make smaller engines, but we make not weaker engines. We just make engines which are more efficient, so they use the fuel better than the others did. But for a driver, they have no lack in performance.
To complement the smaller engine, the design team built a more balanced race car using Audi ultra-lightweight technology.
We needed a highly efficient car from aerodynamics to run fast on the straights and have even enough downforce in the corners. So the R18 is, after many years, the first closed car that we have developed for the 24-hour race.
It's nice to sit in terms of the buffeting, means that the head is more or less still. The air goes over you, and in that sense you feel a good sensation inside the car.
It definitely feels better to have a roof protecting your head.
We always try to be on the highest level of safety with our race cars possible. And when we took the decision to make a closed car, we have seen a chance to do a very special, strong monocoque out of one shell and not out of two shells, bonded together like all the others.
The unique one-piece design yielded a stronger yet lighter survival cell, one that will shelter drivers in case of an accident. The Audi engineers made the R18 safe, and if you ask the drivers, even slightly stylish.
To be in that car, you know, when you see pictures sometime and you see, wow, I am the guy who's driving that car, that's cool.
Audi will field 3 nearly identical R18s for the 2011 race. 3 cars means 3 teams of drivers. The race's defending champions will pilot car number 1. Timo Bernhard, Romain Dumas, and Mike Rockenfeller. Before his win in 2010, Rockenfeller's history with the track was, well, rocky.
Devastation for the Audi team. Young Mike Rockenfeller has crashed the R10 heavily.
It took 3 years for Rocky to finally earn redemption.
When you stand on that podium, it's hard to describe. And yeah, I hope I will have it again.
It's a feeling that the drivers of the number 3 car are familiar with. They are practically a Le Mans all-star team. Dindo Capello, Tom Christensen, and Alan McNeish have 13 wins among them. Capello has been with Audi Sport since its first Le Mans. His extensive resume boasts 3 victories. McNeish, lightning quick and relentless, has won the race twice. Christensen has won the race 8 times, earning him the nickname Mr. Le Mans.
7 victories, a record 7 now becomes 8. Tom Christensen extends his record-winning run at Le Mans.
The number 2 car will be piloted by last year's second-place finishers. In only their second year together as an Audi team, Marcel Fassler, Benoit Trillier, and André Lotterer are quickly making their mark. Individually, they've won races all over the world, but this is Le Mans, and they have something to prove.
For sure the pressure is there, you know, Le Mans is one of the biggest races in the world, and really don't want to mess it up.
The drivers aren't the only ones in the crucible. An army of engineers and mechanics must be perfect in its own right.
In addition to the drivers, of course, look at the team behind each car. With the 3 car, with McNish, Dindo and Tom, you've got Howden. He has got all of the experience. And, of course, he's won the race before. The 2 other lead engineers, they are not as experienced in terms of leading a team.
I started with Audi in 2007 as an assistant engineer to Howden Haynes. Prior to meeting H, I'd never done anything at this level. I'd done analysis before, but on nothing like this kind of car.
I've treated Lena like an apprentice, you could say. You know, you want to bring people in, I would say bring young people in, but she's actually older than me, but, you know, you bring someone up from the beginning and sort of turn them into a race engineer that we feel we need, you know. We felt that she was ready to take on that role of lead engineer of her own car.
The decision to elevate Lina was ultimately made by Dr. Wolfgang Ulrich, the head of Audi Sport. Over the last 12 years, Dr. Ulrich has built a Le Mans dynasty. From the outside, he appears a stern figure, but his icy glare hides a deep passion for his racing team.
The general impression people get is of a very cold, regimented individual. He likes things to be precise. He's motivated to win without question. But on the other side of it is the sort of very much a human side of it. And he's very close with his drivers. He puts the arm round the shoulder when need be and gives the kick up the backside when need be as well.
We are a team that sticks very close together. Each one supports the others, and this is something that was building up through the years. I was pushing always very hard that we live motorsport like a family, and I think that's one of the small things that make it different to the most of the other teams.
I think when you're putting a team together, whether it be a soccer team, racing team, the key is the word team. It's got to fit together. The people have got to fit together. And in an event like Le Mans, you've got 3 drivers in one car. There is a knack there that Dr. Ulrich has. He can see something in the personalities of people more than necessarily the driving characteristics that he thinks, Alan will fit really well with Tom, but those two probably need a dindo just to balance it all out. And now, over the 3 cars, we've got probably the strongest driving combinations we've ever had. And the 3 cars work together, not just individually, but they actually work together for the greater good. But we do know that only one car can win, and we always want to be that one car to win.
For any of Audi's 3 cars to win at Le Mans, they will have to best an equal number of Peugeots. The French marque also has a new car, the 908, with a V8 diesel engine. Audi and Peugeot, for the first time in their rivalry, entered the 2011 season on equal footing. But only one of them was ready for the season's first race.
Peugeot tested that car at Sebring over 12 hours. The R18 wasn't ready for that test, and Peugeot came away from that bruised and battered, but I would have thought with a slight Gallic smile on their lips because the car performed so well. The R18's debut at Spa was the first time that we saw real competition.
Having seen what the new 908s could do at Sebring, it's critical that Audi get the R18 on the track under race conditions. Early in the race, though, Alan McNish's eagerness costs him.
With McNish, he's gone round. Oh, he's gone round already. Cold tyres, cold brakes, and now he's going to have to sit there and wait for the whole of the field to shoot past.
The problems multiplied, and the R18's maiden voyage was a disappointing one for the Audi team.
And he's just going to let the Peugeot go past because he's not at full racing speed. Drama then in the Audi camp.
In Spa, we had a car that showed quite some potential from the speed, but we didn't make several things run as they should run. It was just not a perfect weekend for us.
And that's a new rear end going on an Audi.
Spa was not a good race. Everything that could possibly go wrong had gone wrong.
2 minutes to go. 2 minutes to go, and Marcel Fassel has brought the 2 car in. Splash and dash. Audi couldn't have got their calculations wrong, surely. Very, very strange indeed.
Partly down to preparation, partly down to a new car and teething troubles. It was very tough, though, very tough.
The first time we saw Audi and Peugeot go head-to-head, and very much a commanding victory from Peugeot. They've had the pace over Audi throughout the race, and the next time we'll see these cars will be at the famous Le Mans 24-hour race. And that pretty much says it all, doesn't it? Peugeot happy, Audi still slightly pensive.
Mans isn't just a race, it's a celebration of the sport. And at the Parade of Champions, the drivers are the featured guests. May be hard to believe, but the world's greatest endurance race is actually run, for the most part, on public roads. It's officially called the Circuit de la Sarthe. At 8.5 miles long, there's plenty of everything, including speed. Top speeds down the Mulsanne Straight are well over 200 miles an hour. Contrast that with the 50-mile-an-hour speed through the trickier curves.
When you go in the S Porsche, it's just crazy how quick it is. And the feeling you have in the car with the G's we take in the